All right, all right, all right. Hello there, guys. It is K Rod here. I'm back at it with another live stream for the channel. It's been a while. Um, I should have been a little bit more active with my content for live streaming, but even though that I do work a life and I don't use YouTube as like my main, how should I say? I don't go on YouTube as much as I want to, and I think it's just possibly due to like the lack of, well, I would possibly say for me personally, it's due to the lack of drive and the things that I want to do. Because, granted, I can come out with like a lot of gaming content and I like to do that a lot, but I think just due to me having to work and not having to like really like think about that as often, I never really do it like that. So I just come here whenever I need to and whenever I have time, and I can always do that. So yeah. Um, but yeah, man, I'll definitely be more active for you guys because I always like coming out here for the live streams. But shout out to the whole chat that comes around, and yeah, let's get right to it. But before I do that, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and yeah, let's get right to it. We had definitely have some good content to talk about, and I wanted to kind of give like my whole take on this with Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, part 3 rematch, and I'll probably cover pretty much all the fights on this card, and then after that we're gonna cover Edgar Berlanga versus Hamza Sheeraz, and then that's about it. I'm just gonna skim right through it, and then I'm just gonna give my whole thoughts on this. First fight on the card that I liked watching was the Tamara Theobalt versus Mary Casamasa card. Also, before I break this down, I have all the video shorts that I'll be uploading to my YouTube channel about all these fights that went down. And then I also have like some extra boxing videos that I'm going to be uploading to my Facebook and my Instagram. So definitely be tuned for that. And if you want to, follow me on that, on those platforms, I'll definitely be available, on those platforms, as often as I try to be. If you guys want to come around and just watch, short videos that I publish on those platforms. So yeah, I'll be uploading a bunch of YouTube shorts on my YouTube channel very soon for those videos that I had posted. And yeah, so let's get right to this fight card. Like I said about the first fight that I saw with the preliminary bouts, Tamara Theobalt out of Canada getting a 5th round KO victory over Mary Casamasa. Yeah, this is a good fight. I mean, I like both of these ladies. Mary Casamasa, she's a brand new fighter that I haven't seen before. But I like her, man. She's a good up and coming fighter. But she had a pretty good, fight with Tamara, and unfortunately, didn't go her way. But I think eventually she'll get stronger as time goes on. But yeah, that was a good fight, and I'm happy that she took this opportunity to fight Tamara, because Tamara, she's a very tall, durable fighter, and I like her style. She fought some really good opposition in her amateur career. One good fighter that I personally do like, that I would like to see her fight, if they were to ever go pro, there's actually 2 fighters that I like. It's this one fighter. She's out of Australia. She's an amateur, but I don't know if she'll ever go pro. But her name is Katie Parker. She's a good fighter. I like watching her a lot. She's a really good pure boxer. I wouldn't say puncher. Like I don't think she really possesses any punching ability, but if she ever goes pro, I want to see her fight Tamara in the future, if that ever happens. And then she also fought Satalia Ortiz, which that's quite surprising, because I actually didn't hear about that in the past. But I should have been known about that, but I don't follow amateurs as much compared to like the pros. But I understand where amateurs are in their careers, and I know what happens in their careers. But I do understand that Tamara, she was a former Olympian at the Paris 2024 Olympic Games, and she lost in the, I want to say, the semifinals. I'm not too sure how deep that she went into it, but I do know that she definitely made she definitely made a good run in the like Olympics. So I definitely give her a lot of credit for that. So yeah, that was a very good showing out of her, and I think it was good that she decided to take the opportunity to go with Jake Paul with MVP promotions, and I hope that will upscale her career faster. But also the other fighter that I also like to see her fight is this Brazilian fighter. She's a pretty good, decent amateur. I like watching her. Her name is Viviane Pereira. She's out of Brazil. I like her a lot. She has some good skill, and she's very versatile, very durable, and I like, yeah, like I like how she fights, stylistically. I think if she ever decides to go pro, I think that would be like a really good fight in the future. But yeah, Caitlin Parker is definitely like a big name that I like to see her fight if that fight could ever happen somewhere down the road. But yeah, Tamara, as far as her scaling in the division at middleweight, I think she'll be fine, man. Middleweight's not really that populated of a division. It's less than 40 something women, so um I don't know. Maybe if anything, she could probably move down a weight, go down to 154, and possibly fight maybe fighters that I personally follow. I like to see her follow. Well, I like to see her fight like one fighter that I'm friends with, Alia Carranza, which she'll be fighting O'Shea Jones coming up soon in the future for O'Shea's IBF title that she won over Femke Hermans. So that'll be coming up soon, July 25th. So I'm definitely excited for that fight. That's going to be in Atlanta, and I'm definitely excited. And actually, Elijah Pierce is going up against Michael Dasmarinas. That's that Filipino dude actually that fought Naoya Inoue, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Naoya Inoue fought him, but yeah, that'll be a good fight. I think Elijah will definitely knock him out, but that's gonna be interesting. Um, there's also some other good fighters that, like on this card too. You got Julio Gomez. He's a pretty decent fighter. I like him a lot. He has some good skill. I only heard about him because I think he he posted like a lot of like his boxing workout shorts, on Instagram and stuff like that. So yeah, he's a pretty good, decent talent, and I like watching him. But I also will be looking forward to seeing Haven Brady Jr. going up against DeMichael Harris, which that's going to be a good fight because DeMichael Harris, he's been holding his career back for quite a while, man, and he has to be pushing himself a lot further in his career. So even though he lost up against Anthony Cuba back in February, I think this is a good test up against Haven Brady, which that's definitely going to be a really good showing to show, where he'll be. But I'm hoping that DeMichael Harris, he doesn't hold his career back, and he continues to stay active, so therefore he doesn't hold back his career any further, because he's a good fighter. It's just that I think the problem with DeMichael is that he doesn't keep himself active in the ring. He kind of just comes back every so often past like 6 months, and then that's where DeMichael Harris usually ends up at. So that's my only issue with DeMichael. The problem with him is just that he's just not that type of fighter where you'll see him within like at least like 3 to 4 months. And I'd say if anything, he should be fighting at least like 4 to 5 times per year especially where he's at, knowing that he's 28 years old. But other than that, I'll talk about that card as that gets closer, because that card will be a very good card to cover between Aaliyah and O'Shea Jones. But I think I think Aaliyah and O'Shea will be the co-main event to the main event for Elijah Pierce fighting Michael Dasmariñas. So that'll be interesting. I'm definitely looking forward to that, and I think it's going to be a really good fight, and I'll be excited for that. So hopefully, for the other lady that I mentioned with Tamara, if she can move down to 154, I think that'll be a really good. That'll be a very good division for her to go for. But if she stays at 160, I definitely like to see Aaliyah and O'Shea move up to 160. After they get their fight down, but maybe somewhere down the road that could be another name that they could go for, like the fighter like Tamara Thibault. But yeah, shout out to Tamara, shout out to Mary. They put on a great show. I like to see them both continue to grind in their careers, and they definitely had a really good back and forth battle until Tamara got the 5th round KO over Mary. So yeah, great fight. And let's move on to the next fight, Ramla Ali versus Leila Furtado. This fight, I wasn't really too happy with this fight. I thought Ramla lost this fight. I like Ramla a lot. I used to not like her because I thought like she was just a hype job and she wasn't that good, but she has skill. She's right there. It's just that sometimes when she's in firefights that she shouldn't need to be in, she puts herself in a bad position to be at that level of not being like defensively sound, and therefore she's losing fights that she shouldn't be losing. Especially with their first loss to Alejandra Guzman, that was like pretty much like the only fight that made her look bad for her to get knocked out the first time, and then she ended up beating her in the rematch. I think where that fight went south for her is that her composure as a fighter to be defensively responsible has not done well. And yes, she did beat Alejandra in the rematch, and Alejandra to this day hasn't really like she hasn't done anything spectacular, but she's definitely getting herself back on track. She has gotten 2 back-to-back wins. Over how should I say? She had 2 back-to-back wins up against Karina Chavez and Estefania Gonzalez, which those are probably like opponents that she's fought out of Mexico. But other than that, she had Joanna Lopez. I don't know what happened with that fight. Okay. She actually beat her by majority decision in a 10-round fight. But yeah, I don't know what's been happening with her. She's kind of been a little bit quiet in her career, but she fights at I want to say at least 130 or 126. So I mean that's good. I think she's definitely scaled better at the higher weight classes instead of like 122. But that'll be interesting to see where she's going, because like her only notable losses for Ramla has only been to Yamalev Mercado, in which I thought she won that fight, and I didn't really see that fight to be much of a like scaled loss per se, because I don't think Yamalev is that good of a fighter. I think she's very stationary. She just tries to use like the really poor inside game to just like kind of like go rock'em sock'em robots back with you, and I feel like that style is just there for her to kind of score points, but then the judges kind of favor her to give her decisions that she shouldn't be getting. So I think stylistically, Yamalev Mercado was a good opponent for Ramla, in which I thought Ramla should have won that fight. But knowing that was in Phoenix, the judges wanted to favor Yamalev over Ramla. So I think overall, with that fight, ever since that point, I think she kind of took some time off that didn't make any sense heading into this fight with Leila Furtado. And I thought like her lack of preparation and discipline to kind of stay active leading up to this fight made her lose this fight, because it didn't seem like she was really focused. But I don't think it was more so that the focus, it was due to her deterioration of skill, and the skill level was not there. So Rama was kind of like going blow for blow with Leela, and Leela, she's a good fighter. I like her a lot. Like, I support her, and I follow her through social media. But I think Leela, she looked to be the more hungrier fighter that had a better scaling in this matchup, and I think Rama Ali should take this loss, and they should just basically get a rematch. But I like to see Rama get a rematch with Leela, and if that could happen, then so be it. But if not, I think Rama should very well look at that tape, with her and Leela for a title. So therefore, she can improve her fighting style more. So therefore, she can reach that goal to become a world champion. Because I think Rama will become a world champion, but it's not going to be fighting like that up against Leela for a title. In which Leela, she's a good pressure style fighter. But when you go up against like women like Ellie Scottney, or women like Micaiah Krebs or Mayeli Flores, or any woman that can definitely go toe to toe with you, but they could also throw that power while they're boxing with you, that's going to be the bigger problem. And I don't think that's a smart thing to do. And I think she definitely needs to think that through, because even though she is getting older, that doesn't matter. Her durability is not going to be there when she's going to face somebody that's going to throw some hard shots back at her, when she's not thinking about what's coming back, when she's trying to take advantage of throwing a bunch of flurries of shots, and then she's going to get punished, coming back towards her. So I think Rama Ali, she will be fine, but I would like to see better improvements from her in the future, and I think she'll be fine, because most of what the opponents that I see on BoxRec, I think she could very well beat them, but Rama just needs to be more smarter with her style, because she can't just be going toe to toe with a lot of these ladies, because a good portion of them like to throw a good load of power shots, but it's a mix of just using power shots with pressure, and then once you get tired, then that's where some of these ladies that can hit hard, you know, can somehow get away with it, because they're able to use their body pressure of keeping you away from them, so therefore they're able to like use their technique to use their power, in the proper setting of hurting you. Just from like a stylistic like approach, like Rama has a great style to outbox a good portion of females that don't know how to cut the ring off, or to at least fight. But when she's in that dogfight and she meets somebody that can hit, that's gonna be like the bigger problem, because she's putting herself in a much worse position, because she has that flaw of trying to bang it out with somebody, when she doesn't need to be banging it out with anybody like that can punch harder than her. So I guess we'll just see where things will go. I think Rama will definitely be there at the top, but it's not going to be easy. And Leela Furtado definitely should have won this fight, and hopefully both ladies can show better improvements down the road. So yeah, that's pretty much it with that story. So let's talk about the next fight. Yeah, so this is a great fight. I really enjoy watching this fight between Chantel Cameron versus Jessica Camara. Um, I thought Jessica, she just didn't look like herself, man. She looked very stationary. She got hit a lot. Chantel, she did get exceptionally hit, but she ended up taking a lot of those punches to like throw back and counter towards Jessica. So I thought personally it was a good all out classical brawl, but Chantel Cameron definitely boxed very well, and she did what she had to do, and I think she's a very great fighter, man. Um, I at one point didn't believe in Chantel Cameron, simply because My issue with a lot of European fighters is that a good portion of them don't test themselves at all. And when you don't go across, the pond, whether it's going to the United States or going to any other country that has good competition, you end up like those fighters from the UK specifically, they usually stagnate their career a lot harder. So they're not going to that level of being successful. And when they do that, they end up halting their skill. And therefore, for the fighters that get hyped up from the UK from their own fans that say, "Oh, this guy's good" or "This lady's that good," once they step up, they end up getting knocked off really bad. And it's not good because it's like a lot of these fighters, they're being gaslighted to think that they're going to just get right to the title that quick. And therefore, once they get that title, okay, cool. But then the next opponent that comes right in line to go spark them out, they're just going to be thrown out like trash. But it's like, that's just how the UK and most European fighters are to be promoted. They're being brought up as if they're so good. But the truth is that most of them are not good because they're not testing themselves on a global level to go take on the best competition. So therefore, they can be proven in their skill, but they can also stay sharp up against all the best opposition. So, yeah, that's pretty much the only issue that I have with European fighters. But with Chantal Cameron, she's the exception because she actually has tested herself up against a lot of great opponents, and she's went outside of her own country to face the best. So I definitely respect it because, you got Katie Taylor on the resume, you got Jessica McCaskill to become undisputed. She's faced Mary McGee, Victoria Bustos. I don't like her. She's she's a straight up racist, and she's ass anyway. But yeah, she definitely went to war with her. Well, not really, but she definitely put hands on her. She beat her. One of her tough fights that I really enjoyed was Elhem Elhem Mekhaled. That was a good fight. I actually thought that Elhem could have won that fight, but that was a majority decision that she had gotten. And I thought Chantel didn't look good in that fight as she normally is. But yeah, I mean, she has a really good fighting resume, man. She's a former undisputed world champion at 140, and she's done really well. Like I'm very happy that I kind of gave it time to see where she's at. And I think she's done really well, man. She doesn't really need to prove herself anymore, but for her to kind of like come back from this stage of her not being as active as she normally was, because she literally almost was like out of the ring for at least like a year, but it's been at least like I want to say maybe like 6 to 8 months since she's fought, because she fought Patricia Bergholt, and then she won by unanimous decision. So she's done very well to push herself back up, and everything has scaled very well for her. So yeah, like I'm happy that she's back on track, and I think if the Katie Taylor rematch is to be set in place, yeah, I think she's definitely ready to beat Katie, man. If that is to be the dream for her to win the trilogy, if that's to be next, hopefully. But yeah, let's talk about the next fight. I'll definitely, talk about that in the future. Big shout out to Chantel. I'm very proud of her, and I hope she continues to chase for more greatness. All right, let's talk about the next set of ladies fights. We got Miss Amazing Chernika Johnson out of Australia/New Zealand. She defeated Sharetta Metcalf for the undisputed female bantamweight title championship. So this is a good fight. I was really happy to see this fight. Chernika Johnson put in a lot of work. and I thought Sharetta Metcalf, she pretty much kind of like didn't do her homework on Chernika. It seemed like that Chernika was being given too many opportunities to throw a lot of easy, predictable punches that Sharetta should have been able to defensively like take away from her, because one, she looks to be the taller fighter, but on top of that, she has the good athletic ability to kind of like, use good reflexes to get away from those shots. And the problem was is that she wasn't being smart in this fight, and she was kind of giving Chernika the style that she's normally good at doing, which is kind of like throwing shots to kind of punch with fighters. Because the thing about Chernika is that, yeah, she's a good fighter in terms of decent boxing ability, but I think stylistically she's more to be a puncher, because she doesn't really have that it factor to like kind of use her boxing fundamentals to get to that level of like, okay, if somebody's outboxing me, what do I do to kind of break away against that style? For most of her fights, she likes to use a lot of immense pressure, and she's using that pressure to kind of break something out of a fighter. So therefore, she can get those points to score off of, yeah, to score off of her opponents in order for her to be successful. So that's the only reason why Chernika is able to do what she's able to do to win certain fights by unanimous decision. And for the most part, she's not really winning these decisions, like all the way perfect to be unanimous. Some of them are split decisions, like certain opponents like Melissa Esquivel, and then that one fighter Nina Hughes, in which I thought she beat Nina Hughes by unanimous decision, but judges had to be like, well, the judges that were scoring that fight were being hilariously wild to favor Nina Hughes, to be quote unquote winning that fight. But I didn't think Nina was that good at all, and she's just not that good of a fighter. She just put herself in a bad position to kind of like try to bang it out with Chernika, and pretty much Chernika, she was definitely pounding her throughout the whole fight, to be the victor in that fight. But other than that, she has a pretty good, decent resume, and good enough. She came in at the right place at the right time to take out Sharetta, because Sharetta, she hasn't really defended her title to be a champion. So she took advantage of it. So I'm happy that she did that. Good for her. I've been following Chernika for a long time, but the one thing that I don't like out of this fight was that this fight was stopped by the referee that unjustifiably gave Sharetta Metcalf a quote unquote TKO loss to her, because the referee didn't think she was able to take enough damage, and he wasn't liking her her I guess like her body language of like how she was taking with the shots. And granted, Sharetta, she got knocked down once in this fight, but the knockdown was a little bit debatable of whether if that was an actual knockdown. But I will say, in my personal opinion, I thought she did get knocked down. But as far as the referee stopping the fight to give Chernika the TKO win, I thought that was unjustified. I did not think Chernika deserved to be given a TKO stoppage that way. I would have been better off liking Chernika being given the opportunity to knock out Sharetta if she was able to do it. But why not just give Sharetta the benefit of the doubt to see where she's going to be in that fight heading into the end of the ninth round? And let's just say if Chernika landed like a big shot that that would have knocked her out, then yeah, then from that point on, the referee should definitely stop it. But she was not hurt. Sharetta was totally fine in that fight, and I think that was a massive disservice to female boxing to to basically hold back a good fight that was very entertaining to the fans. But this was for undisputed, so it's like you had two champions in there fighting, and it's like, why not give the champion a chance to prove themselves to see where they're gonna be? Because she wasn't even hurt. She was totally fine. So to me personally, I thought Chernika was dominating the fight, but she deserved to earn that knockout, in which she did not earn it. So the referee should have let the fight continue heading into the 10th round. So therefore Chernika can earn that knockout. I do know that Chernika, she can punch, but it's not like to that level of her being like super duper massively deadly with her shots. Like she's more of like a volume puncher. So I mean, good for her. Like I love supporting her her career. But in my personal opinion, um, Trinika Johnson, she should have earned that knockout to be given the opportunity to apply pressure to Sharetta. And then if Sharetta was going to get knocked out and the referee saw her taking punishment to get stopped, then yeah, then I would have been fine with what the referee saying, yeah, it's over. But Sharetta Metcalf was not hurt. She was still in the fight. And who knows, if she had landed like a big shot on Chernika to possibly drop her and she could have been knocked out, maybe that could have happened. But we can't know that, and nobody doesn't want to talk about that as if, Sharetta can't be given the benefit of the doubt that she's a champion and she deserves to fight, to her shield, or basically she deserves to go out on on her shield. So that's pretty much what I have to say. I like Chernika Johnson a lot. I've supported her for a long time, and I do like Sharetta. I think Sharetta has some good skill, but Sharetta did not deserve that. And if both of you are listening, I personally would like to see a rematch. In the future. I'm pretty sure it probably won't happen, but if anything, Chernika should just move back up to 122, maybe chase for more titles up there, and maybe go after the winner for Ellie Scottney versus Maeli Flores. If she's going to get undisputed, but that's just my personal opinion. I think that should be the better route of kind of going from that direction. Because from what I do know is that now that Chernika had defeated Sharetta Metcalf, she's probably going to end up defending her belt up against Dina Thorsland. Because what was supposed to happen in this particular fight for Sharetta was that Sharetta was supposed to fight the Danish fighter Dina Thorsland, but I believe that fight had to be canceled. Initially for the Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor fight card, because Dina, I believe she is pregnant, so she was basically having a child coming soon in the future, so she had to have that fight to be canceled. So that's why Sugar Neeks or I'm sorry. That's why Chernika was to be the substitute fighter for this fight. But on top of that, Dina's WBC title, and I want to say the WBO title, got stripped. And I think that's where Chernika came in to kind of, take that opportunity and get those belts. So initially, Chernika was the IBF champion, and Dina was the WBC, and Sharetta was... I'm sorry. So basically, I'm sorry. Chernika was the WBA champion. Because I keep forgetting that BoxRec doesn't display the WBA title. She was the WBA champion. Sharetta was the IBF, but Dina was the unified WBC and WBO champion. So when Dina wasn't able to fight Sharetta, those belts ended up becoming vacated, and then they were put on the line to unify with Chernika. So now that Trinica is to be the champion, I don't think Dina is probably ever going to come back. Knowing that she's going to be having a kid in the future. Um, but I'm pretty sure she'll probably fight any of what the other fight like other female fighters that are at the bottom, like Juliana Rodriguez from Costa Rica, or possibly any other fighters that are listed down below, like Florencia Juarez or Serene Sitten. However that goes down, I'm not too sure. But also Crystal Rosado, she's in this division. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where Crystal will be. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where things go. I'm not too sure where things are going to go in this division, but it's definitely going to be interesting, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing where things will go. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. With that, um, you know, congratulations to Trinica, but that TKO victory was not justified, and I think that should have been given a possible chance for Sharetta to continue into the 10th round, so that way that fight can be finished. How should I say properly? Depending on however that fight ends up going to be a KO or just a regular decision. So yeah, congratulations to Trinica. She's also the very first Australian/New Zealand fighter to be undisputed within all of boxing history, for their particular historical lineage. So I don't believe any male or female fighter has ever became undisputed for Australia and New Zealand. So yeah, good for her and massive congratulations. So all right, let's talk about the last few fights. We got Ellie Scottney versus Yamileth Mercado out of Mexico. Ellie Scottney from the UK. She managed to defeat Yamileth Mercado. It was a great performance. It was for the Lineal Ring Magazine title. Well, it's not really like a title, but it's a lineal status to be the top, fighter within the division. Ellie Scottney has now obtained the WBC and WBO along with her IBF World Championships at super bantamweight at 122. And this is a very good fight. Ellie Scottney is a very beautiful pure boxer with semi-punching ability, but she's more of a pure boxer. She doesn't really focus much on anything but just using her boxing ability. I at one point didn't think that she was good because I thought she wasn't fighting anybody good. But once I gave her time and once I saw what she's really good at doing, I was just like, yeah, man, like I really love watching her fight. And she's just an absolute gem, bro. She's a very special fighter. She's very calm. She's very versatile. That's what I love out of her. She's a versatile fighter. She knows exactly what she needs to do to figure you out. But on top of that, she makes the adjustments so beautifully, in the ring. And I think Yamileth Mercado was just like the perfect opponent to like showcase how good of a fighter she really is. So, yeah, I'm very happy that she won. I would hope that now that she has defeated Yamileth Mercado, she can unify, the final belt, that being the WBA belt, with the other Mexican female fighter, that being Mayeli Flores, that had recently defeated Nazarena Romero from Argentina on the ProBox TV card that happened not too long ago. I forgot what card was that, but I think that should definitely be the next fight. I'm pretty sure Jake Paul, he'll probably make that deal very quickly, and hopefully Mayeli Flores, she can definitely bring a very tough fight to Ellie. I think Ellie, she's going to outbox her and she's going to outwork her. I think Mayeli Flores, she's a good come forward, quote unquote, Mexican style fighter, in which I don't really like hearing the whole, like, I don't like hearing the stupid Mexican style claim argument. because it doesn't exist. Like no nationality has their own proper style of fighting, and it's pretty stupid because it's like there's no such thing as American style or quote unquote European style. Like no, it's just called certain styles that you fight. That being pure boxer puncher, or brawler, or defensive counter puncher. Like those are styles, but there's schools of boxing. That being like Cuban school, or maybe the British school of boxing, or the Russian school of boxing. That being like the Soviet, CCC, yeah, like the Soviet CCCP fighting school of fighting style. Like there's many different styles that come about within certain schools, but there's no such thing as like a nationality that represents a certain group of people of their style. Like that doesn't exist at all. So either way, Ellie, she did her thing. She had a great pure boxing style, and Yamalev, all she does is just like basically come forward, and she just kind of throws like a bunch of punches. She doesn't really move her head, and she doesn't use her athletic ability to kind of like actually box with her opposition. So I've never really thought of her to be that good of a fighter. Even leading up to the Amanda Serrano loss, most of her fights have kind of gone down to the wire up against a lot of like opponents. She's been fighting a lot of, crappy opposition, minus like certain fighters like Mariana Juarez, and then she fought Alejandra Guzman, in which I thought Guzman defeated her. Angelica Rascon, that was a good fight. That could have been debatable. Some fighters like Paulette Valenzuela, that was a good fight. Ramla Ali, I thought Ramla defeated her. Like, she has a lot of question marks on her resume, and she also has a few. Well, I thought that she had like a draw on her particular fights that she's had, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, she hasn't really done anything, man. Like she's been holding on to the WBC super bantamweight title, and she hasn't even decided to even unify her titles. And I find it to be really stupid because it's like, if you're the WBC super bantamweight champion, you should be unifying that belt, so therefore your name can be bigger. But she ended up deciding not to do that for this whole time, when she could have fought a whole bunch of other female fights in the past, where she could have probably unified with other champions back then. But she decided never to even go beyond that measure to even try to unify with any top fighters. So either way, I don't like her. She's an absolute joke, and it's just fucking pathetic, man. Like, if you're gonna call yourself a good fighter as a champion, you should be forced to like unify with other champions. Because if you're gonna be quote unquote like paying sanctioning fees and facing your mandatories within the top 10 as a champion, you should be like unifying with other champions, so therefore you could be considered a real champion. Because if you're just going out of like your way, just picking and choosing, and therefore the sanction bodies are kind of just giving you soft touches because you have the proper backing financially with those sanction bodies, then I find that to be absolutely absolutely fraudulent. Because one, you're scamming the fans, and two, you're not a damn good fighter. You're just an absolute trash fighter. So to me, I would say no. As a fan, I don't want to see you in the ring with somebody that I don't know who that person is. And then on top of that, you're getting away with trying to get gifted decisions if things don't go your way. So no, I'm totally happy with seeing these champions out of the picture. If they could just be taken out by another champion that can be their mandatory to take their belt, or they are forced to unify with another champion, if that is to be quote unquote ordered by that sanction body. But I would rather just have it be like a system universally to say, if a champion wants to fight you directly, they can be your mandatory. Or if the sanction body wants to see you unify with that other champion, they could just order it and say, yeah, we want to see you unify with this other fighter. And if you don't like it, you could just drop the belt and move up, and then that fighter can take your belt. And then guess what? You can still be like a mandatory for another belt, but it's like if you don't want to be like a real champion and go out of your way to like test yourself up against the best, you should probably not be a champion, and you should probably lose your belt and let somebody else take it. So that's very much how I see it, man. I don't think Yamalef Mercado was that good at all. And once Amanda Serrano beat the living crap out of her, she's kind of been going back to her own division, facing lesser opposition. You know, obviously she beat Mariana Juarez, but Mariana is way past her prime. If she was younger, she would very well put hands on her, because she is literally like, she's literally at the stage of her career where she doesn't need to be boxing anymore. But she was so good back in the day, man. Like, honestly, like I should probably do like kind of like a boxer rating show to kind of talk about her, because I really want to like probably give her credit about her. I'll definitely do that in the future. I'm gonna make like a show dedicated to her, because Mariana Juarez is a very, very good fighter, and there's so much about her where you could really say she's in that same conversation with maybe like, I would say as far as like the legacy per se, it's kind of similar to like Eric Morales, but she has like a different twist to it. She has like a really good like style that has brought herself to such a great, you know, such a great like evolution to where she's at. And I mean, I followed her ever since I was like a little kid. So so yeah, I'm definitely gonna make a show dedicated to her, because I have a lot of support and love for Juarez, or for Mariana Juarez. So yeah, I'll definitely do a show for her to dedicate her. So that will definitely be on the list. I'll probably do that tomorrow. You know, yeah, like I'll probably do that tomorrow, because I'll get that out the way. But yeah, Yamalef Mercado, she got dominated. She's not a good fighter. She's put herself in political positions to protect herself from not fighting the best, and Ellie Scottney took that away from her. And I'm happy that Ellie did that, because there's no reason why Yamalef Mercado was never ever choosing to unify her titles, and she should have been taken out of the picture if she doesn't want to become a undisputed champion. So yeah, to hell with her, and great victory to Ellie Scottney. All right, let's talk about Shadeja Green versus Savannah Marshall. Great fight. Shadeja did her thing. I'm really proud of her. I thought this fight could have very well ended by KO, because both of them were hurt. But I thought Shadeja, she got the better of the exchanges, putting hands onto Savannah Marshall. And I thought Savannah, she could have very well been very undisciplined in this fight, you know, having to have been inactive for such a long time, and probably not training, you know, supremely hard for the fight. On top of that, Savannah was fighting very dirty. She was kind of like holding onto Shadeja's arm to trying to make it seem like that Shadeja was holding, but Savannah was holding a lot. So I thought Savannah should have been disqualified, or to at least just lose points. So therefore, she can at least be on that cautionary list, or that cautionary warning to possibly be disqualified for trying to like be dirty to Shadeja. So either way, Shadeja, she did her thing, man, and I'm very happy that she did that. For what should be next for her, I would say she should probably go after Franchon Cruz. I want to see that rematch a lot. Well, I want to see that rematch next. I think that's a really good fight, and Shadeja Green, she deserves to shoot for the stars, man. So huge big shout out to Shadeja Green. I'm definitely gonna write out to her, and you know, send my support to her. So I'm very happy that she obtained this massive milestone in her career, and I just think she's just becoming better, man. Honestly, like, here's the thing: there are certain moments in your career in boxing where yes, you're gonna have some really big iconic fights that could be losses. But the truth is that opponent is not better than you. It's just that your style did not get the victory because it did not translate the way that you had not expected it to translate to. There will be tough battles where you will be like, wow, how did I lose to this person? But what do you do after that? If you don't bounce back and then you just kind of be like, well, I'm just gonna crash out and just be depressed and blah blah blah. That has to be like the dumbest thing in the world to do, because this is how the fighters that choose to be undisciplined or choose to be a a quote unquote hype job, and then they end up crashing out over one loss, and then after that they end up getting smoked because they're not focusing on upscaling their career, so therefore they could beat their contemporaries that have defeated them, or to at least improve to be a better fighter. And I think that's the problem with a lot of fighters in boxing. A lot of fighters go out of their way to be very undisciplined after they lose, because once they lose that hunger drive, that goes back into the Mike Tyson effect, where you lose to the man in the mirror. So therefore that overshadows you, and then you're not able to kind of do what you're normally good at doing to be focused. So that's always like the bigger issue, that a lot of fighters, based out of like what I observed, end up just going into that dark mode of just being, a failure, because they don't choose to like be like, okay, look, I got KO'd, but it's like, am I really that bad of a fighter? No, you're not. It's just that you just got caught with like a good shot, and then boom, you just lost. It doesn't matter. It's just more like, if you choose to have a really bad recovery in terms of not being focused, and then you're just going out of your way, being like absolutely psychotic over that loss, and then you want to like crash out over it, then there's a reason why fighters end up getting stopped in their next few fights, because they just don't have that mentality of being hungry. And granted, if you don't have a proper preparation on recovering your body, and therefore trying to get back into it slowly so you could be at that level, then that's where those fighters that you see from the past, like I'll use like man, like what's a good example? Like I'll use like Jermaine Taylor for a good example. The minute he lost to Carl Froch, that pretty much showed like he was still like at that peak, but Jermaine Taylor from that point on was never the same fighter, because he didn't put himself at a higher position to be successful. So that's what caused Jermaine Taylor to go out of his way to be undisciplined. So therefore, when you saw Jermaine Taylor fight all of his other contemporaries, he didn't look to be the same, because he pretty much kind of like shrugged everything off, and then it kind of just held him back further. I mean, granted, he still won the rest of his fights at the end of his career, but when you saw like the very first loss that he took, that being Kelly Pavlik, yeah, he lost that major fight because he was obviously, I want to say, at least the undisputed middleweight world champion, or unified at that time, because once he had defeated Bernard Hopkins for those titles, that was basically his peak for him to be a very good fighter back then. But once he did that, he rematched Hopkins, in their rematch, and then after that, he went up against Ronald Winky Wright, which that was a split decision, and a lot of people thought that Ronald Winky Wright won that fight. And then after that, it was Kasim Uma, and then Corey Spinks, in which I think he fought Corey Spinks twice. No, I think he only fought him one time. But yeah, after Corey Spinks, then came Kelly Pavlik, and then Kelly Pavlik beat him twice. But from that point on, he didn't really look to be like the same fighter. But once he lost to Carl Froch and Arthur Abraham back to back, he just didn't look any better. Heading into that one fight with Caleb Truax, I think that's his name. Yeah, he got knocked down in that fight, and that wasn't really his best performance. Um, he didn't look that good, and that was Caleb Truax when he was undefeated. Um, and then after that was just a couple no-name guys like Sam. Well, I mean, he did beat Sam Soliman for the IBF middleweight title, so I mean, I'm not gonna be mad at that. So I'll be kind of like, okay, like he ended his career being a champion, so it's like he has a good career, but you saw like after he lost up against the top tiers, his discipline went downhill, and he wasn't to be like the same fighter as people used to see him from the past. So that's pretty much exactly what I'm saying. That no matter who you are as a fighter, your discipline is like the number one key factor if you want to be better from your losses, and you can beat your contemporaries regardless of how you lose. And if you lose in the sense of, okay, you lost, what are you doing to put yourself at a better, what are what are you doing to put yourself at a better position where you don't have to basically think like that. But on top of that, if you don't care about the loss and then you just continue to be a better fighter, then your losses don't matter, because now you're in that mindset of being a hard-working fighter where you don't think about what's going to happen after you lose. So yeah, that's basically what it is. As long as you keep yourself focused and disciplined, anything is possible to get up there. Anything is possible, like Kevin Garnett says. So yeah, great performance by Shadeja. Let's move on to the last two fights, and then I'm going to speed run Berlanga versus Sheeraz. I'm going to talk about the rest of that, and then we'll get out of here. All right. Alicia Baumgartner got a great unanimous decision victory over Jennifer Miranda out of Spain. I thought this fight was a little bit closer. I had it 6 rounds to 4. I would possibly say 7 rounds to 3. I could very well see that, but 6 rounds to 4 just makes perfect sense. I think Jennifer Miranda is not that good of a fighter. She's very awkward, but she's very unorthodox with her style, and she kind of uses a lot of her height the wrong way. She's not really using much proper defense to kind of keep herself at bay when she has a shot thrown at her. And the problem with her is that she puts herself at a position where she gets hit at the at the wrong angles, and I don't think she utilizes her head movement and reflexes effectively. And that's my biggest issue with her, because I do like watching her fight, but the problem is like her level of opposition that she's fought back in Spain, leading up to this fight with Alicia Baumgartner, is not the way to go. She definitely showed that her levels are not there at the top tier. And granted, she fought on Team Combat League in the past, and I just don't like. I don't like hearing certain fighters saying that Team Combat League helps them become like a better fighter, because I don't think that's really true. I think if anything, if you get knocked out in TCL and then you go right into like a pro fight, I don't think that's going to be correct for your opponent to see that you have some flaw that somebody exposed, but then on top of that, you're at a position where you're putting yourself through damage from other fighters that are on the come up, but that's in the 1 round concept. So even though that you are more prepared to kind of go a little bit more aggressive when you fight, that doesn't mean that you're going to be at that level to be with all the other top tier fighters in your division, knowing that you're only getting 1 round, but if not possibly 2 rounds in. But is that getting you ready for like a 10 round fight? No, that's not going to get you ready. But on top of that, stylistically, that's not going to make you a better fighter fighting up against championship level competition. So to finalize this, I don't think Jennifer Miranda was expecting a proper. Uh, well, she wasn't preparing for Alicia, you know, like effectively for her style. It seemed that it seemed like as if she was just trying to land something that was going to hit her, but she wasn't using her height. She wasn't pressuring her effectively. She put herself in a position to be hit a lot, and she could have been knocked out several times in the fight if Alicia had her shots planted a little bit more, like a little bit more sharper. But either way, Alicia, she just fought smart. She didn't really need to do any of what the power shot throwing with Jennifer, because Jennifer, she has decent power, but with her being taller, like a lot of her shots are very like they're very looping. So it's like it's a very awkward punch that she's just trying to throw back at her opponents, but she's not really doing much of anything to just find that one big shot to be victorious. So I think Alicia Baumgartner, her fighting a very smart style to box to a decision is a lot better than just her trying to bang it out with somebody, because yes, she does have power, but I don't really think Alicia really needs to be going for KOs. Like she scales a lot better by boxing her opponents rather than trying to like go for KOs. Like if the KO comes, then it does come, but I don't think Alicia really needs to be doing that. She's a very good boxer. She's very smart in the ring, and she does what she needs to do to be successful. To put on a boxing showcase rather than trying to go for a KO. So yeah, credit to Alicia. Very good fight. Shout out to both ladies, and definitely like to see Alicia move up to 135 and higher to see where those big fights are. I'd like to see her face females like Caroline Dubois. That would be a very lovely fight to see. I think that should be the fight next, because Alicia Baumgartner, she will definitely have some work in front of her. So yeah, hopefully we can see that out of Miss Alicia the Baumgartner. But yeah, definitely like to see what's next for either ladies. All right, let's talk about the main event. I wasn't too happy with this fight, and I'm gonna give my take on this because it's gonna be unpopular. Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, the real deal Holyfield 2.0. Man, I wasn't too happy with this fight simply because Katie Taylor is not the fighter that people say that she is. She is a fighter that has a lot of good technical style of pure boxing, but that fighting can only go far when you don't have a fighter that can't figure that out by having to cut the ring off, and also giving Katie enough respect to allow her to throw those punches, up against you. I think the two fighters that have shown Katie Taylor's weaknesses a lot stronger is to be Amanda Serrano, and I would say Chantel Cameron. I think Katie Taylor is very vulnerable against Amanda Serrano, and I think within all three of these fights, Amanda Serrano has shown herself to be a way better fighter than Katie. But the problem is that the judges are very biased towards Amanda, and I think Amanda has a good style, but for this fight with Katie, this was not a proper style that she was fighting. I think both of them underperformed, and I thought this fight should have been ruled a draw. I don't think Katie did anything to win, along with Amanda. I think a draw made perfect sense. And I'm looking at the box result right now. One of the judges, Mark Lyson, had 95-95, and then the other judge, Nicholas Esnault and Steve Weisfeld, had it 93-97, which I don't understand how that made any sense, because it said, like, wait, how did Katie even score 7 rounds to 3? Oh no, like that just makes no sense. But yeah, 97, 93 makes no like that has to be like the dumbest scorecard ever. But yeah, 97, 93 for Katie Taylor is not yeah, that is like probably like the dumbest thing ever. Because even in the second fight with her losing a unanimous decision, that was 94-95, and somehow Katie Taylor won that because she was headbutting, but on top of that, with her losing a point, she somehow won a 95-94 decision. So you're gonna give her 6 rounds to 4, even though that she was getting outpunched and outworked in the second fight. So yeah, I'm not really buying that. I think the second and first fight clearly showed that she showed a lot better separation, that being Amanda Serrano, to be the victor. And the third fight, I just didn't think either fighter won. There was not enough activity shown from Katie nor from Amanda to be the victor. I think politically the judges, Steve Weisfeld and Nicholas, just wanted to just give her the victory just to be biased for her. So I don't like that. That's really garbage. And hopefully, if Amanda Serrano chooses to go for for more success, um, I don't mind seeing her move up to 130 to fight Alicia Baumgartner next. How about that? I think Amanda should do that. Give it one last run, but maybe do it up against Alicia, fight her, and then after that, that's pretty much it, man. I don't think she has more left to prove. I mean, she could fight Alicia Baumgartner. Other people say Clarissa Shields could be that option, but I don't think that's a smart idea. I think Clarissa Shields is just gonna have the size advantage over her, and like to me personally, like I rather just see Amanda kind of just hang it up, but just have one final fight to kind of put herself at that level, and then after that, that's pretty much it. Um, I I don't know if she wants to like move up to welterweight. I think welterweight doesn't really make any sense. Um, I think like going back down to like 130 or 126 is a good place to be. I just don't think the welterweight division makes any sense. I think fighting Alicia Baumgartner is a great fight. That's a great stylistic matchup, and she still has like a title at featherweight, that being the WBO. Maybe if possible, I wouldn't mind seeing Amanda Serrano going up against Tierra Brown. I think that's a very beautiful fight. I would love to see that fight. Also, another fighter that I support, a Mexican female fighter by the name of Magali Rodriguez. I love her a lot. She's a very good fighter. I'm not too sure if she's close to a title, but with Amanda having her belts vacated, I would assume that what's happening with the WBA and the IBF title, that's probably going to be fought for vacancy. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes, but I would hope Magali, she's going to probably fight for the IBF or the WBA title, and then we'll see where all the other fighters go, because there's Raven Chapman, Madeline Rivas out of Venezuela. I like her a lot. She's a great fighter. I follow her. Reina Teles. Sky Nicholson. She's at 122, so she's out of the picture. So that's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But I don't mind seeing Amanda fight Tierra Brown. Why not? I think that's a very good fight, and also they could break bread together. Make great money. Up against each other. So I think Amanda Serrano should definitely look at those names. If she's trying to fight big names, I think like fighting Alicia Baumgartner is there, and then Tierra Brown is a good fight. There could be other fights at 130, but I think Tierra Brown and Alicia Baumgartner are really really amazing fights. Should I'm not too sure if like lightweight or 135 has any good names. I probably just say no, because it's like a lot of these ladies are basically just kind of going about their own way to just get to that level. But I mean, Caroline Dubois is on the table, but I don't think Caroline Dubois is really like I don't think that fight really makes any difference for her to kind of go about doing that. I think it's better to kind of see Amanda Serrano compete up against names that are more notable. But yeah, Caroline Dubois is also like a good fight too. But I think Alicia and Tierra Brown, those are very good fights. So, but hey, if she gets either one of those opponents to add to her career and then just says, I'm done after that, I'm totally fine with that. So shout out to Amanda. She has great opportunities in front of her, and I wish her nothing but the best. And also to Katie, I just don't think Katie is the better fighter out of this whole trilogy series, but it was definitely worth a while to watch, and it was definitely a good fight. I just kind of wish it was just Alicia Baumgartner. I don't think the third fight really ever needed to be next. I don't think the third fight was ever necessary. I think Katie understands that Amanda possesses the style to beat her, and Amanda does not need Katie. Katie came to Amanda, so that's pretty much what the story behind that. Amanda has the better value compared to Katie, so I think that's just how everything goes, But that's just my 2 cents on that. I will move on. Let's talk about Edgar Berlanga fight card. That was a really good female fight card. I had fun breaking that down. All right, Edgar Berlanga fight card. I'm going to skim through this. We got David Morrell versus Iman Katayev. I thought Morrell lost this fight, unfortunately. But this opponent that he fought was a drug cheat, and he was still cleared to fight for some weird reason up against David. So I don't really care if David really got robbed, but I will say that this Russian dude does not deserve a victory over him if he's a drug cheat. So it's like, I will say David Morrell, yes, he did lose this fight, but did he lose fair up against a drug cheat? I'm going to say no. So I'm not going to certify that because I don't think that's fair for David to say that he lost, because this Russian guy is still cleared after being caught with drugs. So I don't think that's a fair assessment to say David Morrell deserved to lose, knowing that this guy was caught cheating. So I would hope David Morrell, he can move forward and not face another guy like that again, because for a fighter to do that to him is pretty scary, for the fact that, yeah, he got dropped in that fight, but it's like, did he get dropped from a clean fighter? No. That quote unquote dirty fighter went out of his way to throw dirty punches with him, and he was drugged up. So it's like, David Morrell, he wasn't expecting that, but it's like David Morrell does not deserve a loss up against a drug cheat, but he doesn't deserve to have a drug cheat do that to him. I'm definitely gonna make a YouTube short to talk about if Iman Katayev is to be found he's already found guilty with his drug testing, but let's just say if David Morrell, if he could possibly sue this guy to get money out of him, I would go after the commission, and I would go after anybody. I think David Morrell has a case on that, but it's like, he should not have this happen to him at all. But I'm also going to talk about Eddie Reynoso and his fighter, Francisco. I forgot what that guy's name, Francisco Gonzalez. He cheated Galal Yafai. I'm gonna talk about that in one of my YouTube shorts. So definitely stay tuned for that. I'm gonna make a video about that, because I'm gonna probably do it tonight, and then I'm gonna talk about why Galal Yafai should sue Eddie Reynoso and that fighter that cheated him, because Galal Yafai, he got done dirty, man. But yeah, I'll talk about that in the future. All right. Let's talk about last 3 fights. Got Subriel, Brownie Matias defeating Alberto Puello from the Dominican Republic. A lot of idiots are trying to say Alberto got a robbery decision. Well, Alberto got robbed up against Subriel Matias. I would say no. Um, Alberto Puello, he has a good decent style, but the truth is that he was not able to do what he's normally good at doing with his boxing. And Subriel Matias went out of his way to take everything away from him, and he dominated him. Um, some people like to say Subriel Matias wasn't really landing, but for the most part in that fight, a lot of the shots that Puello was throwing was not even connecting, and Subriel was pressuring him very well to the body to the point where Puello, he was tired to not even throw effectively. So Subriel's punches were landing pretty sharp. They were hurting him to the body. He was definitely getting smacked with some really good jabs and really good hard hooks. But yeah, I thought Subriel did his thing, man. It definitely felt like a sparring session for him where he was just in the zone, while Puello, he was just holding on for dear life, and he was just hoping that Subriel wasn't going to throw something heavy at him to definitely knock him out. But either way, I'm just happy that he beat Puello, because Puello, he's a drug cheat, and on top of that, he's just a dirty fighter, bro. Like, he was holding like 20 plus times in this fight, and nobody like honestly, I don't know what's the issue with certain people that don't like Subriel Matias, but if a fighter is holding on to him way too much, that should just show to you that a lot of people don't want to go toe to toe with him because they know how good of a fighter he really is. But for Puello to do that just shows that he's just not a good fighter. Like, if you have to hold like 20 plus times, or you have to like basically just abuse clinching just to save yourself time from like not even trying to like basically like engage with Subriel, that just shows like that you don't have heart, but on top of that, you're just a trash fighter. So that's just my problem with Alberto Puello. Like, he has not done anything spectacular in this fight, and all you had to do was pump out your jab, like use more shots to the body, and if you need a clinch, use the clinch to force a reset. But you didn't do any of that. Subriel, he managed to do that to you. He was jabbing to the body. He was ramming those deadly hooks to your face. Like, he was taking you to the deep waters that you say that Puerto Ricans don't have heart. Blah blah blah. Dominicans are better. Well, you guys are not better. You guys were never better. But I got nothing. I got nothing up against like I should say Dominican fighters. I got a lot of support for them. I got a lot of love for them, so I don't have any issues with them. But for Puello, he's a drug cheat, and he does not represent Dominican boxing. He's a drug cheat, and he's a dirty fighter, along with Edwin Jimenez. He's also a dirty fighter that fought Adriel Holmes at 154, in which Adriel defeated him, but Edwin, he was throwing dirty ass punches up against him. So, and on top of that, he should have been disqualified too. He's just a dirty ass fighter, man. Like, I don't respect him. The only Dominican fighter that I ever like right now is probably Rohan Polanco, and at least with him, like, he doesn't have to be dirty. He's just a he's just a very laid back, hard working, focused fighter, and that's how any fighter should be. Work your butt off and don't talk. Just focus on your career and just keep getting better. But Alberto Puello is just an absolute nutcase, and he's just a joke, bro. Like, he's just not. He's not good for what people hyped him up to be, and he was only there for a short amount of time because he understands he understands where his style has gone. And granted, like, yeah, he beat some good level, some good level names. Like, granted, like, you beat Gary Antoine Russell, but did you beat him clean? Did you like beat him without any drugs? Like, that's kind of like the question mark that people have up against you now, because it's like, you're not really a good fighter if you're being caught with drugs, and then on top of that, you get stripped of your title when you get caught using them. So it's like, no, like you're not a good fighter, bro. Like, okay, cool, like you got some decent victories, but it's like, are you really that good of a fighter? No, you're not. You are a drug cheat, and you don't play fair by the rules when you're trying to get your way to try to get victories, over your opponents. So to hell with Puello, he is not a good fighter, man. Do not support this guy. He is an absolute fraud, and he's a drug cheat. But yeah, shout out to Subriel Matias. The one thing that I'm not liking out of Subriel Matias is that Turkey Al-Sheikh is telling them that he has to fight Dalton Smith. And then on top of that, what's also going to suck is that if he gets passed through Dalton Smith, if he's able to beat him, because Dalton Smith is not easy. Like, that's going to be a really tough opponent, and I hope Subriel beats him. But I don't know how that's going to go down. I would hope Subriel, he fights very smart, intelligent, and then if he's able to knock him off. Unfortunately, Turkey Al-Sheikh told him that Alberto Puello wants to get that rematch with Subriel Matias. So Subriel has to fight, like, literally Alberto Puello in a rematch, and then he has to fight Dalton Smith, which I don't understand how that makes any sense. I would say, if anything, I don't know if this could ever be possible, but I'm pretty sure this could be possible if fighters that were politically connected can do this. But if you want a rematch with the person that beat you, and let's just say somebody is to be their mandatory, the mandatory should fight you in a title eliminator, and whoever wins the eliminator fights the champion to get that to get that shot. Because if you put inside the contract that you want to get a rematch in case you lose, then Subriel and Alberto Puello should be next. It shouldn't be the other way around, where Subriel Matias has to fight Dalton Smith as if he's his mandatory. Which, cool, I mean, I respect that, but also the champion, or the former champion that just lost, Alberto Puello, he should get the rematch set with Subriel, and then Subriel should fight Dalton Smith after that. But if that's going to be a conflict, why not just have Dalton Smith fight Alberto Puello, to fight in a title eliminator, and then after that just sets up, but the next fight of whoever is supposed to be granted that opportunity, they could fight for a title eliminator up against the new champion that just defeated the former champion. So I just think that just makes better sense, because it's like, why should Dalton Smith get the opportunity, and then after that, Alberto Puello, who just got his butt whipped by Subriel Matias, should get like another opportunity? That's not fair. So yeah, that's very much what I have to say on that. I hope Subriel can be victorious, but that is not going to be easy, and that's going to be a lot of work in front of him, man. If he loses to Dalton, I'm not going to be mad at it. Dalton Smith is a good fighter, but I would hope Subriel Matias he can pull off a really good back-to-back victories, because I would really like to see him face Gary Antoine Russell and unify with the other champions, because that's what should be happening. And I don't like that Turkey Al-Sheikh is kind of playing that game towards him, because it's like, who are you to say to him that he must fight these two fighters when, if he's a champion, he should be able to unify with the other champions, and then his mandatories can come later. So as long as he's able to unify before he can take a mandatory, he should unify. And then the mandatories, to hell with them, but they should fight each other. They should fight whoever that lost their title as a former champion, goes up against the number one mandatory contender. And that should be a rule put in place into boxing, that if you just won your title as a champion and you want to unify your title, and then the mandatory wants to fight you, but the former champion wants to get a rematch in with you, it should be set that if you have a fight set with another champion to unify with that other champion, the person that you just beat for the title should fight the mandatory challenger to your belt for a title eliminator. So therefore, the winner of that fight fights you next after you unify a belt with the champion. So I think I think that's just like a way better, like to me personally, that's a way better sell to the public because now it builds up like a fight a lot bigger, but it makes things easier for the champion to go unify the titles. So therefore, it just makes it easier. Or just give the champion the ability to unify all the titles, and then undisputed could happen. But obviously, that doesn't work like that in boxing because they get the honor mandatories at times. But I would probably say that's a good rule to have. If you unify, honor your mandatory after that, but the mandatory challengers, before you can fight in title eliminators, and then therefore it just puts out all the unnecessary competition that can be weeded out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, let's talk about last two fights. All right. We got Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda. Um, I was very happy with this fight. Shakur Stevenson did not look good for the first 3 rounds, but from round 4 up until round 8, he looked really good, and he made some really good adjustments on this fight. He really did a good job, man. He really took this fight by storm, and he really showcased his true ability as a fighter. So I'm very happy that he did not throw this fight away. I think Shakur Stevenson came with a really good game plan. Well, he didn't come with a good game plan at first. He was trying to bang it out with William Zepeda, and then he gets punched, on the ropes, on top of getting hit with like a big shot that almost dropped him. So I wasn't happy with that. I thought Shakur was being really stupid doing that with William Zepeda, and on top of that, he was trying to go toe to toe with them to force a dogfight with them. I think that was really stupid of him to do that, and he should have never done that at all. So I think Shakur Stevenson, if he had not done that and he just stuck with boxing, and then he could just stick a move, and then he can, sometimes mix it up with William Zepeda if he needs to. But in terms of just kind of like going in and out with him, where he could like throw a couple good shots with combos here and there, but then if Zepeda tries to hit him, you could try to like throw one back at him to kind of like counter him, but you can kind of like rough him up and use like the bob and weave tactic in boxing to kind of get a fighter tired to force him to chase you, but you're actually like mixing up with the brawling combinations while you're moving. So, you're using that boxer puncher ability to move while you're brawling, in the sense of like, you're using good fundamental mid-range to outside boxing techniques to force your opponent to get hurt, but also make them think deeper about what your next decision will be. So everything's unpredictable based out of like how you go about your next set of combos. So yeah, I thought Shakur did a very good job. He displayed really good talents, and I'm very happy that he did that. He needs to not fight like that, being stupid with a guy like Gervonta Davis. If he fights on the ropes and he's trying to do all this wild Philly shell nonsense of trying to like, slip his punches and try to like, roll the punches like the wrong way, I think Shakur is going to get brutally KO'd. So I don't think Shakur needs to be doing that. Shakur is a good defensive fighter that has good upper body movement, but Shakur Stevenson will get knocked out by any big puncher that sees that coming, and I think Shakur understands that, and he should not be fighting like that. So hopefully Shakur Stevenson improves his game a lot further, and I think he will. And I am very happy that he put on a great display up against William Zepeda. So it's not going to be easy to see where he's going to be within his career at 135, but I would hope that at this stage of his career, I think Shakur Stevenson will be at a good stage. I would like to see him unify his belt with a guy like Raymond Murataya or Abdullah Mason that will be fighting Sam Noakes soon in the future. So Sam Noakes will be fighting Abdullah Mason for the WBO lightweight championship vacancy of the world, and that will be on the David Benavidez versus Anthony Yard card. And also, Devin Haney will be fighting Brian Norman Jr. for the WBO welterweight championship, and then you got Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez versus Fernando La Puma Martinez. So that's going to be a really good fight. I'm excited for this particular fight. Yeah. So Fernando Pumita Martinez is going to go up against Bam Bam. I'm definitely excited for this fight. I think also he's unifying with him too. So yeah, this is actually a really good fight because Fernando, he's the WBA champion. So this is actually a win-win for Bam Bam because now he can be undisputed at 115. So, oh, nice. I'm definitely excited for this. Wow. Congratulations to Jesse Rodriguez. He has 2 back-to-back fights for world titles. Yeah. So he's gonna unify the WBC with the WBO champion, that being Fumalea Kafu. That's gonna be interesting, man. I'm definitely looking forward to this. This is that's gonna be really interesting to see where that's gonna go. But first, Bam Bam gotta get past through this guy. So hopefully he can get that victory, man. But yeah, Fernando Martinez is definitely on the table if he's able to get that victory. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Yeah, shout out to Shakur. That was a good victory. Now let's talk about the main event. All right, we got Hamza Sheeraz knocking out Edgar Berlanga in the 5th round. My whole take on this fight is that I think Edgar Berlanga was not focused on this fight. I think, if anything, he was too focused on the glitz and glamour. And sadly, I think that caught to him. And I don't understand why he did that. I think Edgar Berlanga did not fight a smart style. And I think, if anything, maybe his team just didn't care to tell him that he needs to stop fighting like that. I think if he had not done that, he would have given Hamza Sheeraz a way tougher battle to knock this guy out, or to at least just outbox him to a decision. And I think that's what he should be doing. Like, he has a good, outside boxing ability, but it's just like anything else. If you start getting careless and trying to bang it out with somebody that you should not be banging it out with, you're gonna get knocked out and you're going to get exposed. And I'm not fond of that, because I think a fighter like Berlanga is a way better fighter than that, and he decided not to do anything out of his measure to be better, and he just decided to just give Hamza the opportunity to punch onto him at a level of which he was not being smart in that fight. He was giving Hamza way too many opportunities to throw his power shots to hurt Berlanga a lot easier, and Berlanga looked to be very frustrated in that fight. So I think what really made him frustrated was that Hamza was able to take away his jab right away, and Hamza was being very hyperactive with his combinations, but he was being really smart with what he's doing. So it was very intelligent, man. It was a very smart thing that he was doing, and I think that was very intelligent for Hamza to wait for his opportunity, but to kind of put himself in a position where once he saw the right shot to basically take out Edgar, he went out of his way and dominated him. But I thought Edgar Berlanga stylistically could have had the opportunity to stop Hamza. he did not utilize his abilities to his fullest potential, and he did not fight a smart fight. If he had fought smarter, he would have gave Hamza a really tougher battle. So I think that's the only reason why Hamza was able to do what he did, simply because Edgar Berlanga did not utilize his strategy in a better manner. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope Edgar Berlanga can bounce back. Um, I'm hoping that that could be the case in the future. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That this was a pretty good show. I had a lot of fun watching everything with the fights. It was a really great, memorable night of boxing, and I'm hoping that I can go back to an event similar to that in the future, especially when I get my career going. So that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you very much. Sorry that I went on a little bit too long, but just wanted to kind of give out this show because I felt like it was kind of important. So, all right, I'll see you guys later. Here's the outro. I'm going to add it, and see you guys later. Peace.